What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for dropping into another one of our videos, and I am excited to give you the market update for today. It is Friday, May 23rd. You guys probably watched my video from this morning where I shared with you all of what was going on in the market prior to market open. Well, now we're going to talk a little bit about the day, how the day went, how the news affected the day, and what stocks ran and what stocks did not. Question you're probably thinking right now is, we talk about the best day trade stocks. Did Josh make money? Josh make money. Did you guys make money? That's the question. Drop a comment below and let me know if you guys made money, if you day traded in and out of any of the stocks that we've been talking about over many videos. And hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and click that notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I drop a new video. Guys, so first and foremost, let's talk a little bit about the news. So if you rolled with me this morning and you saw that, basically what I shared was somewhere around 6:30 in the morning, there was a tweet that came out from Twitter or X or whatever you call it. Okay. I'm a little bit old school, like to call it Twitter, but from X. And basically President Trump put out a tweet that starting June 1st, the tariffs were going to take effect for the EU. Well, what did that do for the market? It caused the market to not react very happily towards that news. As you can see here on the screen, the S&P 500 was running at about $584. In the pre-market, was sitting pretty horizontal at about $582.80, or if you want to say it the way the market calls it, 5,820 points for the S&P 500. And then here's the news, guys. Trump's tweet was out, and boom, nothing but down. Look at this. Look at this huge drop all the way down here to basically a wick low of $573, or 5,733 points. That's a big drop, guys, especially first thing in the morning when everybody was pretty much expecting to come into Friday, maybe a little bit horizontal, but we had some good momentum, some good rallies going in the tech stock sector, in the utility sector. AI was cranking, and then this. Now, the good news is what you can see from my sharing with the S&P 500, the stock market continued to rally up on an upward trend. So it did recover, not all the way to where we were, but a high of $581.76, or 5,817, almost 18 points. So it made up a lot of room, a lot of momentum through the day, but we still ended up closing considerably less with the SPY down and the NASDAQ and the Dow down. And I'll give you those numbers in a minute. So let's go back to the news itself. Yahoo Finance, which is where I really like to get most of my news from, guys, and I recommend that to you. Also, if you are a Webull user for trading as your brokerage, they have a new option now, which is pretty cool. You can go to markets, and when you click on markets and you go up here to messages, next to it is News Assistant. You open up this News Assistant, and literally it's 24/7 news. It's giving us the news by the minute. You see here 519. It just reported Clean Energy Technologies Incorporated total deal size estimated $85 million. At 518, Benetech Biopharma files to sell 900,000 shares of common stock for holders. Guys, this is kind of what a lot of those professional brokerage traders want and have, right? So when, there's a matter of fact, there's a guy that's on TikTok and YouTube and all that, Wolfpack, I think is what he's called. That's all he does in the morning is sit here and read something like this, telling you guys, okay, we got Portland Electric, PGE. Let's go to PGE and take a look and see what PGE is doing. And you go to PGE and, oh, guys, right now, PGE is on an upward momentum. I don't know if it's going to hold, but maybe we should jump in PGE. Okay. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually pretty cool. And I've got some friends through my Discord that, pay for his monthly membership and do get that information. But what I'm telling you guys, if you have this Webull account, you don't need that anymore. You can literally sit here and read the market news as it comes. Okay. And as news releases, it gives you that news. And this is super cool. Like, I actually was kind of playing with this a little bit today, and just the stuff that comes on. For example, we're going to talk about it in a minute. So what's super awesome is you can actually click on the news article and it's going to take you right here to where the news article lives. And this one is obviously in TipRanks, which you have to have a membership and you have to sign up for it. So things are going to pop up here and tell us like, hey, we're not going to show you the rest of the news. But basically, shares of U.S. Steel skyrocketed more than 20% in the last half hour of trading on Friday after President Trump announced the American company will form a partnership with Nippon Steel of Japan. And then let's go to the actual marker here for Nippon Steel. So now let's actually go back and pull up Nippon Steel. Yeah, that's it. But as we go to the chart and you look at Nippon Steel, you can see that it had this major jump up, $6.70 all the way to $6.92. So listen, so it's kind of cool that you can go right to that news and see exactly what's going on in the news. The other thing I'm going to share with you guys, and let me see if I can find it again. I just saw it. But Triller is kind of in a little bit of trouble right now. And so if you bought Triller and you're holding Triller and your bag holding it like I am, Triller announced that it received a delinquency notification letter from the NASDAQ due to the company's non-compliance with NASDAQ listing rule 5250 as a result of the company's failure to timely file its quarterly reports on Form 10-Q for the period ending March 31st. So I actually had a conversation with a friend of mine who is a member of Mar-a-Lago. He's very close to Trump and basically has had some discussions about Triller. And Triller was set to be like the next replacement for TikTok. If the whole TikTok thing were to fall apart, Triller was going to be the one to step in. I'm in it. Guys, the shares are significantly low right now. Matter of fact, when I go to my positions, you can see that Triller right now is running about 76 per share, 76 cents per share. And I think I'm in it at like $1.29. But I'm not stressing over it because I talked to this guy and he said that they're filing what they need to file. There's some discussions about other companies considering purchasing them to help them financially. I mean, there's a lot of things still going on with it. I haven't quite abandoned ship yet, but I'm down considerably. I'm down about, I don't know, I want to say I'm down about $500-600 in Triller. I think I bought 775 shares, something like that at the time. But anyway, again, it's all risk, guys. You jump into something like this, it's all risk. But let's get back to the news because that's what you guys came to here to talk about and hear about. So let's get back to the news. So the stocks fell because of not only this tariff talk, but also fell because of the tax bill passing through the House. And there's a lot of concern and fear over the economy, over the deficit, and what's happening there. The Dow Jones sank by 0.6%. The S&P 500, fell roughly 0.7%. And the NASDAQ, which is very tech heavy, backed off about 1%. All three indexes basically dropped, following Trump's comments about the tariff on the EU. But the bigger story here that really kind of caused a lot of it to drop was Apple. Apple phones, the Apple Corporation, they kind of thought they had a back door, right? And let me find the article in here because I wanted to share this with you. Apple, so Tim Cook thought that they could actually have a plan B. Plan A was continue to rely on China, build their phones, export them, and sell them. And Trump is the obstacle in way of that. So plan B was what Tim Cook did was he moved a lot of the operation of making phones to India. And he thought by moving into India that basically he would shield Apple from the tariff issue and being in the middle of this trade war between the United States and China. However, Trump came out and said today that he was imposing 25% tax, a 25% tariff 25% tax on Apple for any phone not made in the United States. So now if he makes it in India, in China, or in Israel, it doesn't matter where he's making the phones, they are going to be imposed with a 25% tax tariff to bring those phones into the United States. I sort of said when I heard this story, why doesn't he just build a facility in the United States, an Apple facility, set it up like you would any other facility? They can make some of the phones here and mass produce it in other areas, bring those shipments into the United States. They have to figure out how that works. And again, I'm being very naive to a lot of that. And still continue to sell the phones without the tax. But I guess that's what he tried to do by going to India, was to avoid the China tax tariff. And now he's getting tariffed no matter what. Basically, Trump said that it would also be Samsung and anybody that makes that product. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair. Again, when they build their plant here, there's no tariffs. So they're going to be building plants here. And that's quote unquote. That's what Trump said about this. So it's not just Apple, it's Samsung, it's going to be LG, it's going to be basically anybody that makes phones in China. So now, added to this, based on the fact that we're now talking about tariffs again, and there's this fear in the market about tariffs again, what's ending up happening is that Wall Street is basically now winding down to the Memorial Day weekend. And so now we're left with some fear, some concern, and a 3-day weekend. So we have Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, Memorial Day, market closed, which in history, in my experience, when we have some sort of negative press, negative news that runs into the weekend, it doesn't get better unless Trump on Monday afternoon comes out and says, that's it, free, taxes for everybody, free this, and we're doing this, whatever. Tuesday morning, most likely prepare for the market to run down a little bit. I'm already mentally preparing myself for my portfolio. It was a rough day yesterday, a little bit rough morning today, but I'm planning to see that drop. But with every drop, know that it comes back stronger. So I'm okay with the drop. I'm okay with the retest. People are going to be like, oh, the stock market's crashing. Stock market's crashing. Okay. All right, Chicken Little. Stock market's not crashing. The sky's not falling. It'll drop down. It'll retest, and it'll come back with positive news, or once the market rebounds, it will come back. It might take time. And I'm not saying that's going to happen on Tuesday, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying expect Tuesday to get up and have a little bit of a market reset and a market retest a little bit red. Okay. I'm planning for it. You guys do what you think's right. Have your own opinion. Drop a comment. Let me know what you feel, but it's going to retest a little bit. The other thing that is going to be a huge focus next week, and they were talking a lot about it all week long in the news, is NVIDIA. So I'm a shareholder of NVIDIA long term. I have it as part of my longer term retirement plan. That NVIDIA stock, is basically fueling some of that retirement money that I hope to cash in on when I do retire down the road. And my shares are considerably up right now. I had my brother-in-law actually say to me, "Hey, there's this article was posted on the Motley Fool by the Nasdaq media outsource, and it says, after nearly dumping his entire portfolio and buying puts on NVIDIA, did famed investor Michael Burry just pull off another big short? It certainly looks that way." And this was reported a couple days ago. But basically, what was reported in that, and there wasn't a whole lot of news because it ended up being one of those things where you could take it or leave it. But Michael Burry was one of the guys that literally predicted the housing crash when it happened many years ago, and became famous because he called it and said the housing market's going to crash and this is going to happen and all that. And so it blew him up to be like this incredible genius, crystal ball, guy. So now they're looking at this at him basically, dumping his portfolio and buying puts on NVIDIA. It's like everybody's going like, oh my gosh, NVIDIA must be getting ready to crash and burn. Okay. All right. I don't agree. I didn't sell. Matter of fact, the day that news came out, I watched it. It did drop about $1 and it went right back to $133 per share. And it's been pretty consistent. And it reacts to the market. Like today, it went down with all the news and it goes back up when it's positive and all that. But, think about what just happened with Saudi Arabia. We're signing these partnerships, these agreements with Saudi Arabia. So honestly, it's we're not going to have, I don't believe NVIDIA is going to crash. Okay. And at the end of the day with NVIDIA, we believe by the end of the year, when I say we, the guys I trade with, the guys that really know what they're talking about are a lot better at it than I am, believe that it's going to hit $200 by the end of the year per share. And I can't wait. I'm excited for that. I'm in it to win it. And, I recommend NVIDIA as a long-term hold. Again, none of this is financial advice, guys, but, I'm in it and looking forward to seeing what NVIDIA does. And obviously, on the 28th, the reason why it's so hot in the news right now is because next week on the 28th, they are going to report earnings. And if you know anything about earnings, which I'm going to create another video here in the next couple weeks for you specifically about earnings. When earnings hits, the stock is going to do one of two things. Okay. We saw it yesterday with Webull. And let me see if I can, there we go. Let me see if I can pull Webull up real quick for you guys and show this to you. Bull. Okay. This is today. So earnings right here. Let me get off the auto so I can pull it down. All right. But this was earnings. Okay. The market closed yesterday. It was sitting at $13.54. Earnings was reported and it wicked all the way up to $14.19. So you know what I did, right? Sold, took profit on all my shares of Webull. And then when it dropped down, I let it do its thing today. Let me go back to auto and watched it today to see what was going to happen. And sure enough, look at that drop. It opened up at $12.50. I got somewhere in here, $12, I don't know, $12.20 something cents, but I'm back in it at $12.20. I was in it at $13.50. I took profit at $14 and about 18 cents because I sniped that earnings report and sold out of it. And that's how you play earnings. But we're going to talk more about that in another video. Now, the thing about earnings is it can go the other direction too, guys. And I'm trying to think of an example of a company that had really bad earnings. Let's go to Wynn Resorts. It was a couple weeks ago. Wynn. Okay, here you go. Yes, here you go. This is it. So Wynn Resorts announced earnings at close. Okay. And they were at $83.20. And when earnings was announced, they went from $83.31 all the way down to $78.06. Okay. Not very good. Not very good. But here's why I like earnings. Okay. And even in the post market, you still have time to purchase shares. Here's why I like earnings. Because if you see what happened next is after you got through these 10 minutes, the next 5-minute candle opened up at $78.62 and literally wicked all the way up to $80.79, close here, but wicked all the way up to a high of $83.79. And look what it did, guys. It ran right back. Okay. It just continued to run back. Matter of fact, it went higher than where it actually was at the earnings report and ran through post-market, pre-market, and obviously did the same thing the next morning because people are, now there are fill orders to sell and all that hit. So it dropped back down, but you had an opportunity here in the post market to trade it in the extended hours and basically make money. So you buy it here, right, at $78.62. You sell it here at, basically at, not even 5:20 in the afternoon still at a high of 82.47, and you made $5 per share. So anyway, not enough. Too much to share with you about that now, and I'll share more in a specific video. We'll go specifically through many earnings stocks to show you how that works. All right. I think that's enough of news, guys. Let's go to charts. Let's see what happened today. Let me show you what I got into today. First and foremost, APLD. And you guys know I say APLD all day long, okay? I'm not in APLD anymore today because I took my profit on APLD. But let's get to that day, which is today. And you're going to see here, guys, APLD opened up, had followed this news of tariffs and all that going on. So I was like going, yes, because, man, it was like getting close to $8, and I didn't want to trade it at $8. I wanted to trade it closer to $7 because I knew it would run back up, and I'd like it to go all the way back to $5. But closed at $7, closed out the pre-market and opened up at 9:30 at $7.28. Still had some downtrend volatility in the 1 minute. I'll show you what that looks like in the 1 minute. Okay, so it kind of did a downtrend. Like I said, APLD, guys, always runs down at open, and then it launched back up, and it kind of did this for a little while, and then boom, okay, $7.09 down. I got in at $7.20, and I let it run, and it ran today all the way up here. I want to say it was $7, and I got out at $7.50. And guys, like I'm telling you, I typically only buy 1,000 shares, at a time. 1,000 shares, 1,500, depends on the stock. So I'm in it for 1,000 shares, and got to from 720 to 750, 30 cents per share. Do the math, guys. But I hit more than my average $100 per company per stock. Take profit for today. Matter of fact, APLD for me gave me profit every day. 5 days straight, green profit in APLD. And it didn't matter if the market was up, didn't matter if the market was down. It made money for me. The second one I got into today, and I wanted to show this. You've not heard me talk about this. You haven't heard anything about this, but there was a lot of talk through the night and the morning about solar power. There was an executive order that Trump signed about energy and nuclear power. Okay, so here, guys, Run, which is basically, it's called Sunrun, and it is a solar power company and all that involved in all the executive order stuff going on with the president and all that. You can see in the pre-market, it was sitting down here basically at $6.50. Okay, it ran up to $7.45. Okay, I made just under $1 per share. I jumped in it quick. A lot of the guys were talking about it, so I knew like this was one to get into, and I jumped in. Fat cash today on that one, guys. Okay, I'm not supposed to say fat. My kids always tell me fat is not popular anymore. But a lot of you guys are probably running around the same age I am. Fat used to be what we used to say. So it's fire. So fire. Okay. And then it dumped out. So pretty cool. But I'm going to keep an eye on this stock. I'm going to keep an eye on this stock moving forward, just kind of see how it does. And I'm now trending it and tracking it as a day trade. All right. SoFi. Let's just talk about SoFi for a minute. SoFi also had a pretty good run up today, $12.70 at the bottom of the wick. Ran all the way top here to a high of $13.21. Not a bad day. If you day traded SoFi, not a bad day. Okay, Webull, not so much. Webull, I'm still holding. You had an opportunity here to make some money in Webull, but I'm holding Webull and I'm waiting for it to recover. I'm in at $13.50. We'll see what happens with it. Again, like Robinhood, that was running today. And actually, let's take a look at that together because I wanted to see Robinhood and what it did. It ran today. Look at this. 62.30 open, ran all the way to a high of 64.46. Wow, nice. $3 almost per share, pretty good. But Webull will come around. Okay. And let's look at SoundHound because you guys know I'm in SoundHound as well. Same thing, had a decent day for a day trade. I did not trade SoundHound today because, again, I'm holding SoundHound. I think I'm at $9.80 something cents per share. It had some issues, volatility. I would have made it today. It was right there. I thought for sure today was the day. It was at $9.93 in the pre-market. I thought today, oh my gosh, I'm going to make my money on SoundHound today. But I'm holding it, and it's okay. I can be a bag holder of SoundHound. SoundHound, Serve Robotics, SMCI. These are all companies that I'm not upset about holding because a day or a week or whatever, it's going to crack and give me a lot of profit. So anyway, guys, so that's kind of it. Enough to share with you. It's been a longer than normal video. Guys, I hope you had a really good day. Drop a comment. Let me know if you made money today. Let me know how you feel about the market. Let me know about all the craziness, how you feel about all the craziness of the news. And just know that we've got 3 days off from the market, which I will be totally jonesing on Monday to be back in the market. And I'll be waiting for market to kick in Monday night because you'll have the post closing, even though the market will be closed. You'll have the nighttime market that runs into pre-market. So we'll get a sort of a preview of what's happening with the S&P 500 and with some of those other stocks. But anyway, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, click that notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you do have an awesome Memorial Day. I hope you get to enjoy some family time, have some barbecues, enjoy what you have, and God bless you. Guys, hope you have a great day, great weekend. Let's get rich together. Talk to you guys on Tuesday. Josh out. Peace.